these notes are the linear inequalities. So this is kind of day 2 of this. We're graphing linear inequalities today. So there's 2 pages, 3.8a, they both say this. On one page, they're in slope-intercept form. On the other page, we've got a little bit of slope-intercept, but we've got some standard form. So we need to practice both. All right, so remember, write the inequality in slope-intercept form. Graph the line, start at the y-intercept, and use the slope to plot additional points. And then we're going to determine the line, okay? So remember, less than or greater than is dashed, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to is solid, and then we shade accordingly. All right, so negative 3x plus 4. Plus 4 is my y-intercept. So that's where I'm going to put a point, at plus 4. Negative 3 is my slope, okay? So as a fraction, negative 3 is negative 3 over 1. Make sure that you're turning your slopes into fractions. That means I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Down 3, 1, 2, 3 over 1. Okay? So you can use the slope to plot points. So we know we're going to have a solid line. So I'm going to graph solid line. And then we got to figure out how we're shading. So this tells me, and I can use this, above the line. So I would shade everything above that line. Okay. All right, the next one. We start with the y-intercept, negative 5. So we know that's a point. My slope here is 3 over 5. So 3 over 5 means I'm going up 3 over 5. And so that's a good tool that you can use. Draw which way you're going. So negative 3 would be down and over to kind of help you remember which way to move. So we're going up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I am not going to be able to get another point. So solid line again. So one way you can remember that, if there's a solid line underneath the inequality sign, you're going to graph with a solid line. Okay, so below, I'm shading below the line. So this area is below the line. Okay. All right. Negative x, negative 5. So negative 5 is my y-intercept, so we know we have a point there. Negative x means our slope is negative 1. So if I write it as a fraction, negative 1 over 1, going down 1 over 1. Okay? So down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Okay, sorry guys. So negative x means our slope is negative 1. So we're going down 1 over 1. So we've only got 2 points. But one thing I can do is I can go in reverse. I know there's going to be another point here. So if you feel like you need 3 points, you can work backwards. That's hard to do. Oh, I need a dashed line on this one. So make sure that you're doing a dashed line. Okay, dashed line. And then it's greater than. So greater than, we're shading above. So we're going to shade everything up here. Okay. So now we have y is less than negative 4, or greater than negative 4. So this one, we know that y, when they start with y, this is going to be a horizontal line. So a good page for this in your notes would be that page that we hand drew the other day. That one, hopefully you can see it on here. So it tells you y equals a number. This is the same thing. It's going to be a horizontal line. Okay? So it's going to go through where y is negative 4. Now we know it's going to be a dashed line. And so y is greater than negative 4. So that means we're going to shade above this line as well. So this one's kind of one of our odd special cases is what we call them. So all this up here is what we shade. Oh, I'm running out of pencil here. Okay, I don't know, let me see. Okay, there's none on the back. So we're gonna go to the second page of this, okay? So we're gonna do, I'm not gonna do any more in slope-intercept form. If you have more questions about how to graph these in slope-intercept form, feel free to ask me when I get back. But let's go ahead, let's move on to standard form. So if they're in standard form, I gotta solve for y. Okay, so I'm gonna get a separate sheet of paper just so I can write big. So 5x minus 2y is greater than 12. All right, so I'm solving for y. So I'm gonna move the x first. So this cancels. Negative 2y is greater than negative 5x plus 12. Then I'm gonna divide by this negative 2. All right, I had this question come up earlier, so this is just one of those things that we need to know. If there's a negative on top and on bottom, they cancel each other out. And if you type this fraction like this into your calculator and hit enter, it will cancel. It will, and the answer will be this, positive 5/2. All right, 12 divided by negative 2 is a negative 6. Again, please be using your calculator. It makes your life so much easier. Okay. So y is greater than, so negative 6. We're going to plot a point at negative 6. And then we're going to go up 5 over 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2. And you only need 2 points to draw a straight line. I just always do 3. It just makes your line a little bit more accurate. Now we know it's going to be dashed. Okay? So dashed line. All right, and then we got a shade. So y is greater than, we're going to shade above that line. So everything over here is what's going to be shaded. Okay, sorry it's so messy. That's our shading. All right, x minus 4y. X minus 4y is less than 8. Solving for y. So we're going to subtract the x from both sides. I forgot to do something. I divided by a negative here. I am so sorry, guys. When you divide by a negative, the inequality flips. I am so sorry. So this should not be shaded here. It should be shaded below the line. I am so sorry. So remember that when you multiply or divide by a negative, you must reverse the inequality symbol. I am so sorry. All right, negative 4y, negative x plus 8. So not when we're moving pieces like this, but now when I divide both sides by this negative 4, now I have to flip that sign. So make that the first thing that you do, that you're flipping that sign around. Okay, so negative x divided by negative 4. The negatives are going to cancel each other. X over 4 is the same as 1/4. You can kind of tease that x out. Remember, invisible math. 8 divided by negative 4 is a negative 2. So we have y is greater than 1/4 x minus 2. All right, so negative 2 is our y-intercept. 1/4 is our slope. We're going to go up 1 over 4. Up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can draw a line through our points. Okay, oh, and it should have been a dashed line. I am not doing good today, guys. Let me see if I can find a dark marker or something that I can fix that with. Dashed line. I am so sorry. All right, y is greater than. Whoop. Greater than, we're going to shade above the line. So it is really easy to mess up on your graphs. You're so used to graphing a solid line that you forget. So always be really careful when you're working with these inequalities. Make sure you're getting the right lines and everything. All right, on the back of this, let's try a couple more here. Maybe I won't mess up on these. X minus y is greater than 8. All right, I'm going to subtract the x from both sides. Negative y greater than or equal to negative x plus 8. All right, I got to get rid of this negative. So I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. I divided by a negative. Flip the sign. So this cancels. Negative x divided by negative 1. All that does is change the sign. 8 divided by negative 1, all it does is change the sign. Okay? So y less than or equal to x minus 8. So 8, negative 8 is my y-intercept. Now my slope is just 1 over 1. You're just going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And then if y is less than this, so it is a solid line, and if y is less than this, we shade below. All right. 3x plus 2y is less than 0. Subtract 3x from both sides. 2y, negative 3x. All right. I'm not adding the 0 to the end because it doesn't change it. Okay? Divide by 2, divide by 2. Now, I don't have to flip the sign here. I didn't divide by a negative. So my slope is negative 3 over 2. My y-intercept. If there's nothing added or subtracted to the end, my y-intercept is 0. We just don't do plus 0 at the end because it doesn't affect the equation or the inequality in any way. So we can put a point at the origin, and we would go up 3 over 2. Up 3 over 2. Dashed line. Okay, y is less than, so we shade below. All right, so now we've got some special cases. So y is less than negative 4. We know that's a horizontal line. We go to where y is negative 4. It's going to be a solid line. And if y is less than that, we would shade below. Okay? X is greater than 7. We know this is going to be a vertical line. So where x is 7, and this one's going to be a dashed line. If you look at the sign. Woo. Now, how do we know where to shade here? Well, x is greater than 7. The x's that are greater than 7 are to the right. So for this one, we'd shade to the right. So anytime you have an x inequality, try to think through it logically. X is greater than 7. So all my answers have to be where x is greater than 7.